Hello and welcome back. So we have a good amount of our 12-bar blues done now. We have the melody, we have some the call and response element, we have the jazz harmony, we've spiced it up slightly. Let's go back to the bass because that's probably the most basic thing that we haven't worked on that much throughout the piece. We just used the basic formula so far. Or the basic plug-and-play formula, as I like to call it, where it's just the 1, the 3, the 5, the 6, the flat 7, and then back down again, and changes if you change chord. But there is a better way to write more structured bass lines. So we're going to learn that formula today, and I'm going to write one based on that. So I'm going to zoom in on these 4 bars to explain that. These 2 bars actually we'll use. So the purpose of each bar, I'm going to write this underneath for now, just to add in, just to explain kind of what's going on, and I'll add this in as a lyric. Control L. So this is the basic formula for writing a really compelling bass line. So we're going to go over these individually. So CT stands for chord tone. Let's just shorten down so it'll fit nicely. Is chord tone. So we want a note from the chord, and the best one, of course, to start off on is the 1. Following that, start off on the 5. But I think the 1 is probably the thing you want in the bass to actually give that piece, the structure to the piece that you want. So we need another chord tone here, you can imagine, and that could be the 3rd, so the 1 here and the 3rd here, or it could be the 5th up here. It doesn't really matter that much, but what does matter is this note in between, which we're going to use to connect them. So for example, if we had a chord tone, the 1 here and the 5 here of the C chord, we could connect in the middle. Well, actually that's not going to play if I do it like that, so I'll just go, and that connects there. Or you could have that up here, so, or you could have something to bridge the gap between these 2 chord tones. If this was down here and you had the same note here again, just something to as an auxiliary note to add in some motion between this. You don't want, which we had at the beginning, because that's going to be very basic. So let's say we go up to the C here, we would connect those, the 1 and the 3 with that. When we reach the prep, we're preparing for the next bar. So we're not thinking about this chord anymore, we're thinking about this chord. So we want to land on the F, I think would be a good idea. And let's have a look. How can we approach that quite nicely? We could approach that, well, this is E and there's no E sharp, so we can't approach that chromatically. There's a couple of ways we can approach this. So I'm going to write this out. Well, I don't think I will be able to, but I'll see if I can write underneath. Oh yeah, I can. So there's a couple of ways. We can go diatonic. So a diatonic prepare would be the step above or step below. So that would be, that's a tone, and go down. So we could go, and there's a step from here, from the G to the F, or we could go chromatically. So that would be either from a G flat or from below. That is technically chromatic because E up to F, that's only a semitone, but we already have an E here. So if we wanted chromatic, we could go for the G flat. Oh, it keeps zooming out, I'm sorry about that. So I think I preferred that one. And the final way is from the dominant. Which would be, if you think of the chord of F, what's a fifth above that? That is C. So that would mean you would approach from the fifth of this. So in this case, that would be C. And you get that 5-1 motion. Or you could approach from the fifth but below. So, and that would be up a fourth or down a fifth. But I think the easiest way to do that is just going to go note above the G falling down to the F here. So let's keep that idea going of chord tone, connect, chord tone, prepare. So let's have a look at this chord here. So I think, just thinking ahead, I want to land on this C here. So where could I go? I want a chord tone here. And C is a chord tone, so I could connect this gap. I could go like that, but if I'm going to do that, I need to remember that this is an F7 chord, so I need to add in an E flat. Or I could go for the D, that would add in the 6, which kind of counts as a chord tone when you're thinking of in the bass. And then I need a way to step into this. So I need to approach this, so I could approach it from its 5, that would be the dominant approach, that would be approaching that. We need to go from G, or we could approach chromatically, or we could just go diatonically. I think diatonically would work, so that would work. Let's go into this bar. So we want to approach... let's do something a bit more interesting here. So I want to approach the 5 of the chord here. So I'll keep that in mind. So if I'm approaching the 5 there, I'll probably want a chord tone here. I'll go for the 3 of the chord. Yeah. And I need to bridge this gap. So I'll so that's the chord tone, connect, chord tone, and then I need to prepare. So E up to G. So I could go for the connecting gap there. Or I could go chromatically, which I haven't done yet, so I might do that. Yeah, that might work. I think that would be good. Where do I want to go from here? I want to go down to the F. I need to keep that in mind. So I'll raise this F up a bit. So it's going to go down to the F. I think what might work is going, yeah, I'll go from the G. Yeah, this should work. So I'll go G up. I'll go for the chord tone below. It doesn't have to bridge the gap completely because we're going to add in some motion. We're going to add in a bit of the sequence. So I'm going to go G, A, E, and then bridge up. So it kind of goes up, then drops down, up, and then it's going to drop down to F. So that should work. Let's have a quick listen. I'm going to turn everything else down and whack the bass right up. Well, the bass is already up, so I'll just turn everything else way down. Let's have a listen. Let's turn it up even higher. And I'll zoom out so we can actually see what's going on. So it's connecting those notes in a way that isn't just the simple 1, 3, 5, 6, flat 7 formula. So let's have a go doing it from this F, and we're approaching another F here. So I'll set that as F. I could repeat the F here and have kind of an auxiliary note for the connection. I'll hit chord tone there and get the... I haven't got a dominant yet. I'll go from the dominant. So that's the C to F. But yeah, I'm not moving to that chord, so that's not going to work too well. I'll go from below. Oh, that's going to be E flat if I do use it, because E flat is in the chord of F7, not E. Let's just try D, that might be interesting. I do like that, but just for argument's sake, I'm going to stick to the formula, so I'm not going to do that one. I'll go above and I'll go down to the E flat here. I like that, that fits within the formula. Apart from that, doesn't. I'll go down to the G there. And then you get the 5, 1. Doesn't fit too well within the F chord, but that's fine. Other ways of doing that would be auxiliary or chromatic. All that is chromatic already, so there's many different ways of writing out a bass structure. I'll go for the G for now, just to keep things as they are, and then I will continue. So you know what, I'm going to keep it going up this way for now, just to add in that progression here. So how do I approach the next chord? So what do we have here? We have a G here. So just using that formula, I could go... Oh, I know. I'll go C. The B flat, that's part of the... That's a chord tone. I'll connect that down to here, the G. And then I'm going to have an auxiliary, which is also the blues note of the scale, so that's going to work really well, considering there's a F sharp being played here as well. So we'll have that to approach chromatically into the G here. And then let's just think ahead. I'm going to go to here, so... Oh, and then I could have another chromatic again, so I'll go down to here. So chord tone, chord tone. I've got the connection here. So I go up and then I go down using the... Which I believe is... Yeah, that's what I've got here as well. So that should work quite well. And then... F, and I need to connect the... Oh, let's just see what happens if I go straight down. Oh, no, that's not going to work. So, chord tone, connection, chord tone, prepare. And I just need something to fill in this gap. So C, I need to approach the G, and I do like that one down there, so I'll go down. So the chord tone down here will be G, so I'll connect using the B flat. B, and then I'll approach from the... Oh, I'll do a dominant for this one. So I'll go from the D. Oh, actually that doesn't sound too good. I guess it's not a resolution, so... Oh yeah, you know what, I'll add in the chromatic approach here. Ba-da. Yeah, and that works, I think, fine, having in a... No, I'll stick to the formula. I'll stick to the formula because that's what we're going with so far. 1, 3, 5. So I could go from that D, which is a chord tone of G, to the C, using the in-between note, which would be D flat. So let's have a listen so far. Lovely. So that'll just loop endlessly, and that gives the the bass player a bit more to do. So we'll leave that there for now, and I'll link into some other videos at a later point that go over how to write out this formula in more depth. But just as a basic formula, chord tone, connect, chord tone, prepare. So we'll leave that there for now, and we'll come back in a bit for some more.